Hey y'all, what is going on? Happy hump day to everyone who is catching this live and who is going to catch it on the replay, of course. Oh, so happy to be here talking to you all about the Real Housewives of Atlanta's season 16, episode 11. Let's be honest. But before we get into all that, y'all already know I need you to do a few things for me. First and foremost, I need you to like the video. Yes, like the video because it helps me and my channel in terms of the algorithm. It helps me attract new subscribers such as yourself. And if you are not a current subscriber, go ahead, hit the subscription button, become a Barb's Babe. I would love to have you. Also, drop down in the comment section. I would love to know your thoughts and opinions and questions, comment, all of it, whatever you got to say, except for, if you want to say anything negative, no, you keep that to yourself. But anything outside of that, drop down in the comment section below. Leave it down there. We can have a cute little kiki going back and forth, whatever. Also, hit the notification bell so you know each and every time I make an upload, and share me with all of your folks. I feel like I haven't been live in so long, you all. Let me throw my banner up here and then we can get into all of it. Hey, what is up? Oh my God, y'all. I originally tried to come to you all with this last night, but when I tell you, it has just been so crazy the last couple weeks. I told you guys before that I was like out of town for a bit, and I feel like before I left out of town, life was hectic and crazy and all of the things. And then once I got back, it still was crazy, hectic, and all of the things. And this week hasn't been any different. I, on top of doing some like gig work and stuff, about like 30 hours a week with that. And then I'm also in this PMP project management professional course this week. So that has been pretty draining, and just trying to keep up with everything day to day in between. I fell off a bit also with my fashion and beauty content for a little bit right there. So I've been getting back into the swing of things with that and posting more, which is why, again, you should follow me on my social media platforms so you can keep up with all things Barb Meets World. And also, let me throw it in here as well. I do have my actual website up and running finally. So you guys can go on ahead and make sure you are signed up for notifications on there and everything too, so you do not miss out on, again, all things Barb Meets World. I can already tell it's going to be a really hectic and wild summer, y'all. I do have some big news to share with you guys very, very soon. So stay tuned for all of that. And no, ain't nobody having no babies. It has nothing to do with that. So yeah, just don't even think that has anything to do with that, because it doesn't. But yeah, it's just a lot. It's been a lot going on behind the scenes. And I also want to say one more thing. If you all have been on the lookout for my if you've been on the lookout for my, the Beyond the Gates videos, I didn't forget about that, y'all. But like I said, it's just been so crazy, and I'm actually I haven't even been watching. I'm so behind. I need to catch up so I can again come back down here and we can chat about it and everything. It's just been wild. It's been wild. But anyway, let's get into the episode. Y'all, again, don't forget to like the video as you come on in to the room. Where are my notes? Okay, here we go. I feel like it's been so long. I feel like I'm rusty or something at this. That happens every time I feel like I go, when I go off of here for a little bit. It just is all the things. But anyway, boom. And if you guys are catching this on X, then also again say, hey, come on over here to YouTube, hit the subscription button, hit the like button, do all the things. Okay, so this episode, let me know what you guys think about this episode. It was cool. Like, I feel like we're at the point in the season where it can get a little monotonous, it can get a little bit redundant, or what have you. I see in next week's episode, we're getting closer to the cash trip. So, you know, that's cool and everything. But I will say, Kelli specifically, I've been seeing online how a lot of people are just thinking that she started off really strong, but somehow in the last couple episodes, she's kind of fell off a little bit. And I could understand why they're saying that, but I really did appreciate seeing more into Kelli's family life. And I love seeing her with her girls. In this episode, we got a scene with her and Chloe, who just had a birthday. Happy birthday, Chloe. So I am still enjoying her, but I can also understand why people are saying that, why they're feeling like, okay, girl, you started off with a bang, but you're kind of wavering a little bit. This episode, we also only got maybe all of 15, 30 seconds of Blair, Bridget, Brooke, whatever you guys call her. Brit, yeah, we only got like 5 seconds of her. So I was like, yes, won't he do it? Yes, he will. Was so happy about that. And she obviously wasn't missed. So we're good on that. What else? Ooh. We're going to get into Angela and Charles actually right now. That's where the episode started off at. Angela and Charles, they are up at this really cute rooftop restaurant or whatever. And after touching on some different things that he has going on in his career, he's coaching. She said something else. I don't even remember specifically, but they was talking about she was talking about him and his career because, you know, she married to Charles Oakley. Child, she, you know, that's her man. So yeah. But after that though, y'all, we quickly see this whole back and forth banter dynamic that they have, her and Charles, which we've got glimpses of that before. And I'm just so exhausted at this point when it comes to what is going on with that whole dynamic. And I say that because that I could just imagine on a daily basis that would have to be so freaking taxing and tiring. Like, don't get me wrong, y'all. I'm a girl who could take a joke just like the rest of them. But I feel like there's a time and place. And I feel like on national TV, in front of millions of people who are watching, who don't know you from a can of paint or just know you as an athlete, as a public figure, as a celebrity, whatever you want to call it, I feel like that's when you need to, you know, you have to show up differently, because especially on this type of platform, and I'm not saying be fake, no, be true to who you are, of course, but at the same time, it's like, if that's all we're seeing of you and we don't see anything in contrast, we don't ever see you just automatically having her back or showing affection and whispering as many sweet nothings about her as she does to you. We just don't get that. It's always Angela championing for Charles and being his spokesperson and stuff, and we just don't see that being reciprocated. And that's something I've actually seen in real life. I've seen these types of dynamics. I know it's not for me. I need to know that you're feeling me and you're all up on me and about me just as much as I'm all up on you and about you and feeling you and all and everything in between. Y'all let me know what you guys think about that. Am I just putting 20 on 10? Is that also what you've been picking up? Let me know in the comments. Let me know in the chat. Let me know. Just let me know, y'all. Because again, it's like, don't you get tired? Like, I don't know. I'm somebody who, I'm not going to say I'm over here. I like to consider myself a realist. I am somebody who is objective when a situation requires that objectivity. And then I'm also subjective and, can be very adaptable when it comes to other situations. So, with that being said, that's why I say it can never be me. That gets tiring because it's just like, if that's your approach to everything, and I can't just count on you to understand that right now, I just need you to be on this type of time versus this type of time, then we just don't need to be together. Like, what's the point? And I really appreciated, I think it was on X, Twitter, whatever you guys want to call it. I'm pretty sure it was on there that I read. Somebody had said, like, okay, maybe that's why Angela takes the approach she takes with the other ladies. And maybe that's why she's good at like being able to handle them and stuff, because she has her biggest Debbie Downer next to her, telling her what the ops would say at every twist and turn of life. So I'm just like, okay, can we see something different? Like, you have to go out of your way. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I'm a realist. So for me, it's like I have to go out of my way, I feel like, to say things that are like negative or opposing, or like you just want to be disagreeable just to be disagreeable. Again, when there's a time for me to give you the real, raw, unfiltered, clear, direct, to the point. Actually, no, scratch that. I feel like you could have that same approach, but you just don't have to be so cold with it. You can still be just as clear, just as direct, just as supportive. I'm not saying you need to be tonguing her down every time we see you, but you can still show up and just soften up and handle her a little bit more in line with all of that more often. That's all I'm going to say. So let me get off my tangent with that, y'all, because we got a lot more to cover. But the main thing with this scene, again, y'all, is that she's still having those issues, or I should say that issue between Amari, her daughter, and her sister and her mother. Yeah, that issue still stands. And from that, her and her sister, they've been still like avoiding one another. This is something, though, that has been obviously weighing on her. So she turns to her partner to get his opinion on it. And of course, again, he handles her in the same way that he always handles her, which is just, oh yeah, I actually have some pictures this week. I can't believe I forgot that. Yeah, I got some pictures this week. Yeah. Cool. So I need her just to get a therapist, and then, because she's made it clear she ain't leaving him. That's her man and whatnot. So if it works for her, cool. But she clearly needs to a more supportive sounding board. Yeah, I'll put it that way. So he tells her that, yeah, he's dealt with the same things, and he's actually vocalized this before, if I'm not mistaken, that he's gone through the same things, and his approach is just to, continue to walk in the opposite direction and let those types of people, just you leave them to their own bidding, pretty much. And I can agree with that, because two things can be true at the same time. Y'all know I love my favorite phrase. He can carry himself like that and be that way, but when he does speak, it makes sense. I'm always going to, give the just due. And in this situation, I think that's completely applicable. And I say that because there's a lot of there was a lot of error. I feel like there was a lot of tension building and water boiling when it comes to the Angela, her mother, her daughter, her sister, like that, all those individuals. I feel like that was bound to happen. And I'll get more into that in the scene with her and her mother. But anyway, moving on. Bring in the cheekbones. Okay, bring in the cheekbones. Bring in Cynthia, Bailey, Shamea. Yeah, they meet up. They have a little cute little one-on-one. And of course, they were going to jump right into what had happened the previous day at Porsha's. Oh, I don't think I have a picture of this scene. No, I don't. They jump right into what all went down at Porsha's Pamper by Porsha event. So we already know what went down. I mean, Cynthia was there, but I guess obviously she wasn't privy to like exactly what it all branched off of. So she starts to question Shamea about that. And Shamea almost instantly, she's crying because she actually recites this super emotional text that she had sent her mom right afterwards. She said she didn't sleep well that night. And she just feels like Porsha mishandled their friendship in front of the group, pretty much. And she just, for some odd reason, is still expecting so much from Porsha at this time. And I don't understand why. I think when somebody shows you who they are, you need to believe them, especially when it's like there's actual current evidence of this person not being the best friend to you, trying to call you out for stupid foolishness. This ain't your song. This your song. Bitch, what? Anyway. But yeah. Cynthia, she also kind of started to piss me off in the scene. I'm not even gonna lie, y'all, because in the end, she tries to compare, or not even, no, scratch that. This is when she said that she would love to have a Shamea and Porsha friendship with someone one day. And I'm just like, Cynthia, the whole way in which she approached this situation, acting as though she doesn't know how Porsha moves, like you should be the main person. If it ain't Shamea, you should be the next person in line that is able to tell us how Porsha gets down, because you've been there when Porsha was getting down, how Porsha get down. So you acting completely oblivious to this whole thing. And I get it. You know, Cynthia's been over here. She's chilling on the West Coast for a while. She left the show. She did it. But no, you know how Porsha can be. And you know that just based off of even what we just taking into what we've seen this season alone, she is less than a best friend to Shamea. And I'm standing on that. I don't care. That's not to say that Shamea doesn't have her flaws about her, because she definitely does. Oh, yes. Oh, yes, she does. But Porsha not Shamea's friend. And she hasn't been. And that was only amplified once they both got on the show. And moving over and flipping the switch on Shamea, I feel like it's beyond the time that you need to just be direct, come clean, let it out there how it is, because it's like on one hand, you want to act like that's not where you were coming from or what was said or yada, yada, yada. But on the other side, you've been saying those same exact things in so many words to us. We've seen it. And even presently, because you guys still aren't cool like that, this is something that you spoke on in numerous interviews. This is something that you felt for a long time. And just focusing on the point where she brought up how one of the major issues in their friendship is that Miss Diane, Porsha's mother, is always telling Porsha that the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree and you can't trust her, you got to watch out for her, and just saying all these disparaging things to Porsha, which then get into her mind and start making her then start acting weird or distant or closed off to Shamea, because apparently Shamea's mom and Porsha's mom were good Judies, I guess, back in the day, but they had a falling out. And unfortunately, that I feel like has trickled down to their daughters. And another thing, y'all, you always have to take into account. Hey, Feisty. Oh, see, I'm so glad I'm live because I've been missing y'all. I really have been missing y'all. And I see collectively 9 people are watching y'all. So please, again, come out the bushes. Please give me a like, drop a comment, drop, even if you want to just say what you would rate this episode, I would love to hear it all. So yeah. But going back to what I said, you always have to take into account a girl's relationship with the other women in her life, like her mother. I would even throw sisters, anybody who's closely linked to that person biologically or whatever, familial wise or whatever. You always got to take that into account. And I say that because I can even remember I had a close friend at one point up until, a handful of years ago, that she just didn't know how to be a good friend. I feel like through and through, when there was chances for her to, show up and celebrate me, I feel like she didn't always do that in a way that somebody who claims you're their best friend would do. And again, I should have known that we were like unequally matched. And honestly, it's the first time I'm even talking this through and making this comparison. And while doing that, I'm realizing even more examples of how this person had a lot of similarities to someone like Porsha, that just seems to kind of always be out for like either self or the way in which she handled other people and other relationships in her life. She was less than ethical and wasn't somebody who was trustworthy in those situations and stuff like that, and was down to do people real dirty in those situations. So when I saw that, I should have definitely knew, like, okay, there's been these other red flags, but that should have been the main red flag, is how they are in other relationships, what the relationship looks like with the other women in their lives, if they have like mommy issues and stuff, because there's mommy issues present in that situation with that person. And to make a long story short, fast forwarding again to today, like we're not friends, because I'm somebody who considers myself, everybody want to claim they girls and stuff like that. Okay, but when it comes down to it, a lot of y'all aren't, because like competition, jealousy, any ill feelings, like I don't feel any of those things when it comes down to celebrating my friends or showing up for my friends. Even when I don't always have my stuff together, or if something doesn't work out for me, like that doesn't mean I'm not going to be still happy for my friends or whatever, or I'm not going to be in a silent competition with my friends, or I'm not going to be on this type of platform and not try to put my, friends on. And it's not to say that you owe it to anybody, but that's just genuinely what people do a lot of times, is they go out of their way in numerous ways to let it be known that they care about that person, that they want to see them happy, that they want to, be there for them and show up for them in any possible way that they can, because that's just innately what someone is going to do when they're trying to be genuine to you. I don't know how else to say it. I really don't. I don't know how else to say it, because that's just the only way I can see it. And again, it's taking you to come onto the show for this to finally come to a head after it's been boiling for so many years. Cynthia also compared their relationship, their friendship, Porsha and Shamea's, to hers and Nene's, which I'm like, okay, I can kind of understand that, I guess. I'll give her that. Let me know if you guys understood that comparison. Samia. Cynthia says no matter if she was at her lowest point with another lady in the group, she always met them with love no matter what. And okay, I just said everything I said. I should have said the only caveat to that is I don't agree with continuing to kill someone's kindness or meet somebody's venom with love and smiles and hugs. No, that bitch. How about that? That's what you should do in those situations, y'all. And that has nothing to do with you, coming up out of your character or being dishonest to yourself or whatever. Like you need to teach people how to handle you sometimes, because and there's people out here who are, yes, trying to take your kindness for weakness. And yeah, you might not be losing any sleep over it, or oh yeah, I don't really care about that t-shirt that I let her take from me and she never gave back, and is like, yeah, you might not care about it, but if this person is always just taking your stuff and never giving it back and never allowing you to then borrow their stuff in return, then no, you don't need to keep letting that person borrow your stuff. Then if you can't even borrow their stuff and they give it back to you in like this horrible condition after you told them that, like, hey, you gave me this back with in a horrible condition. Do y'all understand? Was that like an example y'all can follow? Like, just moving on. Like I said before, Brit wasn't in this episode too much because she went to Napa Valley to attend a friend's wedding. The end. Don't care. Moving on. Again, Angela, Cynthia, and Porsha's ass. They all met down in the bowling alley to bowl, which is always so fun. Y'all, I miss bowling. Oh, I miss bowling. I can't bowl anymore because if you don't know, I'm pretty sure I talked about my shoulder issues on here before. Yeah, this shoulder, I had surgery on this shoulder and had to get anchors put in it back in January 2018 when I was still in the military. And so it's just a lifelong thing that I'm always going to deal with and stuff. And yeah, so bowling is not something that I have indulged in quite some time, but nonetheless, good for the girls. So Cynthia asked Porsha how PJ was, and Porsha immediately goes on to say that she's been super attached lately, and she's been asking like, where is Porsha going? And she knew that the divorce would be something that impacted her, but this is actually starting to go beyond just the divorce, because she's now showing like some type of, a attachment abandonment issues. Like she doesn't want Porsha to just, up and leave her and not come back home. And she has questions. She notices things. She notices that this strange man that her mom brought home one night with her takeout meal leftovers, she noticed that he's no longer around. So of course, like on one hand, I can understand, I can see how she would have said something. But do I believe that, like, the way Porsha's approaching it, I'm still like, I don't give a because ultimately that's the person who should have never even had the privilege of being in your daughter's life from the get-go. Asking where's my papa, like, that's just so gross to me. And we had already heard about Porsha allegedly texting him and him leaving her all red after this whole thing. And I'm just like, what do you... I don't remember who it was that said this, but somebody had said recently that Drew's storyline is what Porsha's storyline was supposed to be. And I'm like, yeah, clearly, because she's just moving so damn weird this season and just not even really, moving weird and not putting work in all at the same time. Like, where do they do that at? But that's what she's giving. And I have more to say about that in the final scene of this episode too. So just bear with me, y'all. But I'm just like, oh, Cynthia. Moving over to Cynthia for 2 seconds, y'all. Cynthia also pissed me off in the scene too, because instead of, again, telling Porsha what she need to hear, which is, yeah, you are a bad friend. This is all coming out how it is, because that is what you are, and that is what you've been. To Shamea and Porsha are just another Evelyn and Jennifer. I see Shamea for her works. You did say that they remind you of the whole Evelyn and Jennifer of basketball wise of it all. Yes, I do remember that. And you said you see Shamea for her works. So are you saying that you potentially see it from someone like Angela's perspective? Is that what you mean? What do you mean by Shamea's works? I want to know. I pose that question to anybody. Y'all let me know. Because I feel like I've seen a lot of people, it's pretty much split down the middle of a good amount of people just pinning this all on Porsha, and then another good amount of people saying that Shamea is very calculated, and this is all like she's playing this from a strategic standpoint, and that they weren't just, again, going back to the Evelyn and Jennifer example. I think that they are two sides of the same coin, and I feel like that can be applied to Porsha and Shamea depending on how you look at it. Because again, going back to even my example that I shared with you all before, that's not to say I didn't have fun with that person. That's not to say that we didn't have similarities in a lot of ways. Obviously, the friendship stemmed from somewhere. At some point in time, we were able to be on the same page with something, whether that be, oh, you like pancakes? Oh, yeah, I like pancakes. Or you like shopping and freaking escape rooms? Yeah, I like shopping and escape rooms. Like, whether it been as something superficial or something grand, there was enough to get them on one accord, enough to initiate some type of relationship, friendship, whatever, interpersonal relationship. But I think in doing that, again, I'll say that Shamea, Porsha has her ways about her or whatever, but Shamea, you also, I'm not going to sit here and say that you're completely innocent either, or that you are a complete and utter victim in the matter. Anyway. And Porsha, as soon as she got the sympathy that she needed to see in order to flip the script, that's exactly what she did with Angela and Cynthia in this scene. And she immediately puts on her woe is me cape and is all like, oh, I just don't have the capacity to divorce my best friend right now, and I'm just going through a lot and I just can't, we had a genuine friendship. Like, we just got to go back to that. I just have so much going on with this, and that's why I didn't want to take it there with Shamea the other day. Girl, enough. Again, they're better than me, because I'd have been like, tragic. Can I get a burger? Yes, thanks, please. That would have been me. Just saying. Moving on, y'all. Drew has this chat with her mom. She has a chat with her mom, and she just is leaving an emergency meeting with her attorney because Ralph is trying to get her attorney recused from the case. Yes. You all heard me correctly. He's trying to get her attorney recused from the case. And he's also trying to come for her LLC and say that he is the rightful owner, and he's trying to take 40% of that. And then so when they recognized that that was what he was trying to do, her lawyer made her a new entity, and he's also trying to take like 40% of that as well. He isn't paying for anything as far as the children. Her family's helping her, and it's in addition to her own money, of course. And just the other night, he restricted her access to the security system on their house to the point that she had to get a hotel. And so when he got there, or when she, whatever, I guess this is the next morning or whatever, he brought his ass up out the basement through the first floor and opened the front door for her to come in. When I tell y'all, I almost jumped off the couch and kicked the TV when I heard that, because what do you mean locked you out of the house, restricted your access to your house? Drew, you're going to stop this shit, and you're going to stop this shit right now. And what I'm talking about is, even in the end of this little scene right here, you're trying to play this nice card or trying to take the high road. No, sometimes you need to fucking break people down to where they need to be so they can stop fucking with you. Sorry, excuse my language, y'all, but that's the only way I can put it. Like I said earlier, you got to teach people how to handle you. And obviously I understand that they're emblazoned in this divorce right now. Like, obviously I'm not telling her to do anything that's going to have her have to give up her freedom. No, that's all I'm saying, because we know his ass ain't gonna pay for shit. So, but at the same time, I feel like she could have been more firm, or she should have challenged this court order that she doesn't even understand why certain parts of it are what they are, such as the arrangement of him in the basement and you on the first floor. Like, where do they do that, y'all? Condensed thoughts. Porsha ain't. We all know this, and Porsha did things to Shamea to cause a rift in the relationship. Understandable. However, pretending to be cool and had moved past it, only to bring it up several years later, is suspect. It's giving she pretended to be okay just to continue to have access to this show. But now that Shamina, should we say, has her peach, this can be her storyline to gain favor with the fans and get her lick back. I could see that. Yeah, I feel like, again, I think that was kind of some of what Angela was trying to say without saying that. Yeah, Shamea is playing the long game. She's playing at something different, and I can respect that and see it from that perspective as well. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's that's a more specific example, but I can definitely agree there is stuff on both sides here that needs to be taken into account. And I'm actually glad that you said this, Spicy, because that's actually one of my next most biggest dislikes, is when somebody acts like stuff is cool or like it's not an issue or something, only to then bring it up 17 years later. Like, and that's not to say that, because I don't like when people are like, oh, well, you should say something at that point. Oh, well, who cares? No, I'm not going to meet it with that type of energy either. But it's just like, I don't know. Maybe it's just me being me. I'm going to say something. If I have an issue with something, or if I just, not even just, ooh, stop. Yeah, and I feel like the beginning of this season, a lot of people were cool on her because, you know, big old house. She bringeth the wealth. Okay. And I feel like everybody's like, oh, okay, cool. You know, Shamea should have been on here as a full-time peach holder a long time ago, et cetera, et cetera. I feel like that was mostly where everybody came from because it was just something so new. But I feel like now that we are well into the season, we're kind of kicking our feet up, leaning back, trying to really take off the rose-colored glasses and really just look at the bare bones of this whole thing as it started to unravel between her and Porsha. I think that that's kind of been brought into focus, which is, I say that to say at first, everybody was like, oh, like it wasn't a big deal because everything was so new. And it's just like, oh, on other franchises, not everybody husband is on camera and is in confessionals with them and is in the mix and stuff like that. And that's okay or whatever. And I still do believe that. But I don't know. I don't know if that's just because specifically I'm a little bit bored with what else Shamea has been offering us the last couple episodes. I want to see more maybe, or what, but I can definitely recognize that we in fact don't hear her saying anything too much about, you know, her husband and stuff. So we shall see, y'all. Anything else about Drew and her mom? I don't think so. Other than, yes, you should back up. You should run him over. You should. And when she said that, y'all, when Drew said, when she was making the joke with the producer or whatever about skirt or whatever, tell me why I thought about none other than Rashida's mom. If you guys ever used to watch Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, when Rashida's mom backed over Kurt's, what was that? He just bought a bike. He just bought a motorcycle, I'm pretty sure. Or something like that. Is that her dirt bike? Whatever. He bought something on two wheels, I believe. And she backed up over it in that big old SUV. I'm like, exactly, Drew. That is exactly what you need to do. In your SUV, you need to back up over his ass, because I just couldn't, y'all. I could not. Angela's mom paid her a visit, y'all. And again, as I said earlier, she wanted to address these, she needed to address the situation with her mother, the situation being what happened between Amari, her mom, and Angela. And it's fair to say, because Angela's admitted it in so many words, that her mom, I guess, was less than there for her in this same way. When she was younger, she didn't have her back how she would have wanted to, is what I picked up from it. And so this was just yet another example of when she should have stepped in or intervened, I guess, or Angela just expected more from her in that moment between the sister, whose name is bleeped out, who I don't believe we'll ever meet, and her daughter. I can understand that, but it's still like, and it sucks that, well, I say, before I just say this one thing, let me preface that with, I did see that Angela's mom has passed away since this episode was filmed and everything, which is like so crazy. I would have never, was definitely not expecting to hear that. But she did say that on her her Instagram and stuff with this message that you can see here. And so what I was going to say is, it definitely will suck that we won't get to see her mom again, or I don't know if she filmed some more into the later episodes of the season, but we were at least introduced to her here. And even after Angela told her how she felt about that whole situation, they were able to patch that on up and hug it out and stuff, and you know, get a laugh in or two. So I like that. I'll be fine if we don't see her mom for the rest of the season, and that was just where we ended with her and that whole thing. But in this scene, Angela did speak her piece, and her mom, actually, we know that she had bought that house for her mom and her sister to live there, and that's based on the fact that she had this lifelong dream of taking care of her mom and everything. And this is kind of where I started to get off the bus with Angela, because it's just like, on one hand, you're saying this has been your lifelong dream, you know, couldn't wait to do this for her and whatnot, but then on the other side, you're talking about how like a weight has been lifted off of you now that her mom had announced that she just got the keys to her new place or whatever, and that she just wanted to be more self-reliant. Because, and this is what I was trying to say earlier, y'all, that this type of dynamic, sometimes it can get a little messy. It sometimes it doesn't work. A lot of times I've seen this not work and stuff. So, you know, it was what it was. I don't think that she's still patched it up with her sister, though. And I said that because, like I said, they did bleep out the name and blurred out her face still. So I don't know where that stands. I'm pretty sure if that's not something she's addressed in one of these interviews, that she's gonna be asked that at the reunion or whatever. But very interesting. Mm-mm-mm. And she did say that she loves her son-in-law, even though he's almost her age. Cough. Kelli, Chloe, and Cha-Cha, they were practicing driving, and there was a lot going on. There's a lot going on. And I mean, I'm not anybody's I am not anybody's freaking mom out here, so I can only imagine what it's going to be like if and when I do have children, what it'll be like me teaching them how to drive. I can just only imagine. I'm definitely, I can admit to being a control freak when it comes to driving, y'all. Like I'm not anybody trying to no, because people be doing a lot and not knowing how to drive, especially here. And I'm sorry if you are watching this from California, y'all. Like, I am producing this from California, but people cannot drive out here. Oh my goodness, people cannot drive out here. And I've been saying that, and that is a hill I'm going to die on. I do not care. Cannot drive out here. And I just can know how nerve-wracking it could be. But Kelli did, I mean, she did better than I probably am. And so Chloe wants her first car to be a BMW. Kelli's like, hell no, you know, because you're gonna have to maintain it. You're going to have to do all the, you know, maintenance and upkeep and all that stuff, and that can get a little pricey. And Chloe was like, oh no, like, but that's what I got you for. You got the money, mom. Like, what are we talking about? Okay. And so from there, Chloe did express that she would like to help out at the restaurant, and Kelli's all down for that. She's still knees deep in opening this other restaurant. And so, of course, Chloe's going to come on and she's going to help with the interview process. So good for them. I don't know why she was learning to drive in that big ass Escalade, but I guess that's maybe all the vehicle that Kelli has available to her. And I feel like people online too were, what do y'all think? I mean, she's expressed how much it cost, even it was not in this episode, how much it's cost to the whole divorce and stuff that she went through. And obviously she's rebuilding and whatnot, but I don't know. I just wonder what Kelli's financial status is, you know, residing at specifically. I'll just leave it at that. Okay, moving on. Drew's mom, fast forward, she actually traveled to be with her daughter, even though last season, we know, was that last season, right? Drew's father had passed away and stuff. And her mom, even though she looks amazing for her age, is like in her 80s almost, or if not. And so she's traveled to be with her daughter because her daughter clearly needs all the support she can get because she ain't getting it from the basement, child. But it's been going on 2 years at this point that they've been going through this divorce, and it could be even longer of a delay if her lawyer gets recused from the case, because then she got to find a whole new lawyer, and that's going to be a whole new, can of worms. So, Ralph, you ain't shit, like, at all, man. Like, you are not shit for this one. And I did watch Drew's interview with Carlos King, where she did address some different things, and I'm really gonna try to back up off Drew. I really am. And I mean, I really don't feel like I give Drew too much heat, but it's true. Like, come on. Anyway. But I'm really gonna try to be mindful of how I speak on her and her situation, because I do admit, and I do recognize that she is somebody who has shown us her life. She definitely has let us in. I don't think that this whole situation between them is fake. I don't. And she also did address the her and Ty thing, and she didn't flat out say like, yeah, they was getting down like that or nothing like that, but she did say that she was a really good friend to her in that moment. And yeah, of course there was flirting, and of course, it's different when somebody like likes your jokes and actually likes being around you and all those things. And I can definitely understand that, and I can also understand how that led to other stuff, probably just allegedly. I'm just saying. And that's not to take away from, but at the same time, I say I want to definitely be mindful of how I'm coming at her and her situation, because I do genuinely believe that he is trying to do everything in his power to make this super difficult on her. And I think that could have been his intentions all along. I don't think he's trustworthy. I think that he just needs to get out that basement, y'all. Full stop. Get out of that basement. You go to Tampa. Sorry to anybody who lives in Tampa. Go wherever you want to go, but you need to get out of here, because I can't imagine having to live in that type of environment. He couldn't, like I said before, I would have ran him over, just like I said before, because you're trying to just go out of your way to make things difficult, and you're laughing while doing it. You're trying to act like your father of the year over here, but you're not paying for things. You refuse to give up your financials. And at the end of the day, we're still going to be unfortunately linked for the rest of our lives through the children. That doesn't mean that, no, we need to be in constant contact or have to fool each other on a daily basis or anything like that. No. But whatever, we can't just go back to being strangers. And so, like, why are you just trying to make it difficult? And I need to, if you know what the documents that were unsealed and stuff like that, if you look through it and everything, please drop down those comments and let me know what you thought of it and whatnot. Because again, the only other thing that I've ever thought it was is that there was something up in there that was way worse about Drew than it was on him, and she was just approaching it the way she was because she didn't want to, out herself and whatnot. That's the only way I could see it, because I would lose my mind. And so her mom is talking, and now we get into the kids of it all and how they have been a lot more misbehaved than they normally are. They're not only they're not listening to Drew, they're not listening to her mom either, which then at that point really took Drew aback, because it's like, okay, it's one thing you're not cooperating with me, but now like my mom, and it's just it's a lot, and I could understand that. And her mom's whole thing is this whole situation, living arrangement, was never in the best interest of the children and their well-being. And you know, she's going to feel for her child and not want to see her go through this. But again, I'm and I know the mom's pastor and all that, but like, again, you need to get ugly with him. I won't go into specifics, but you need to get ugly with him. The documents. Drew is amongst a long legacy of women that love to bind them to the swingers, preying on talented women. They love bomb you and get you to let them in your business affairs. Yep. The minute you do, they either ruin your career or take you for all your money. Yep. And we're like, and it's just so crazy that this was the episode that we're seeing this week, because it's just like, I don't know, like, City Girls is down bad right now. Y'all, it's just like every other day I log on mine, and it's just like, what was that yesterday? Sky Jackson. It's you know, just somebody new, Keke Palmer, or you know, Halle Bailey, or what have you. It's just something new every single day, and I need y'all to just to really go deeper when evaluating being in a relationship with these people, or dealing with them in any capacity, because you could really be shooting yourself in the foot. Just be mindful. Moving on to the last scene, y'all. So where are we at? Ooh, I've been bumping my gums, but it's okay. I haven't been live in a while. So again, collectively, there are 18 people watching this video. So please, y'all, drop down in the comment, like the video, subscribe, do all the things. Do all of the things. Oh, I forgot to put these pictures, but yeah. I just felt, I really feel bad for her. I do. Oh, and also, can we talk about Cynthia's wig in this scene, y'all? I will say this is the best wig that I feel like Cynthia's had on all season. Please. Still not my ultimate favorite. I feel like the roots are like, I feel like it could be a little bit like flatter at the top. However, leaps and freaking bounds, because I don't know what them other things were that she came up on here wearing on her head. I don't know. Last scene though, y'all, the sit down, the one-on-one between Porsha and Shamea. It was weird right off the bat, and I feel like that was definitely being perpetuated by Shamea. I feel like Porsha immediately was giving I don't give a fuck energy. But she is the first one to respond to the passive aggressiveness that Shamea was displaying, I feel like, in that scene. Shamea, just like she always does, apologizes right off the bat for not being transparent about her feelings throughout the years. She says that she does mask a lot when it comes to their friendship, and she didn't want, things to come out in the way they did to the other ladies when they were being vocal pretty much. So Porsha, like I said before, giving I don't give up energy right from the get-go, immediately responds with oh well, we already discussed this. You already discussed, or she makes a point to say that she had already discussed it before even bringing it to Porsha. So it's just like, oh, I love you too, Feisty. Thanks for coming through. Mm. It's like, if you had such an issue with it, why not come to me first about it rather than tell it to whoever else, only for it to still get back to me? How did you think it was going to be received? Which I will say, Porsha does have a point there, but again, that's immediately her trying to absolve herself from any wrongdoings, and we're not going to have that. No, 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 no. So Shamea, and this is where then I gotta whack you, because it's like you want to approach it as if you've done everything right, and it's like, no, you haven't, because again, going back to what even Feisty said earlier, that where is it? Yeah, you acting like things are cool only to bring it up several years later is suspect. So again, just so you guys know, I have issues on both sides. I definitely do. And so Porsha, she was just being rude, like shuffling around silverware. Her mother called her, which how ironic was that? But at the same time, I'm like, I feel like that was probably shade to Shamea right there again, because you probably knew that she was filming. Like, you knew that she was filming. Like, spare me. Porsha's all up there sighing and just looking so just over it the whole time, y'all. This was her face the whole time. And this was Shamea's face. Woo! Oh my gosh. So she's trying to express herself. Porsha's looking dead in the face at her, just like completely over the situation, not trying to take any accountability, not caring, all the things. And then she starts talking about how she's uncomfortable. And I don't know about y'all, but I was like, oh, uncomfortable? Is that because there's no way for you to run in this situation? And you don't know whether like you should fight or flight, because that's traditionally Porsha has always been a fighter, or as we've seen this season, a flighter. And then she like, cries somewhere and intermixed in all that too. And I don't feel like this was a situation that this wasn't a situation that could be resolved, because these are just two women who should not be friends. These are just two women who this is only just going to come up again, which is why even in real life, they're still at odds. They're still not in a better space with one another. So I say that, and to say that throughout this entire conversation, I was just so rolling my eyes at each of them for different reasons. And I was glad that Shamea did bring up how she feels when Porsha tells her the things that Miss Diane says and all that. And just even that, I can't fathom, because Pam would never. AKA my best friend's mom. Like, I can't imagine. And it's crazy that hasn't came up. And that should also show us that you guys aren't real friends for real, because I feel like for me, like, that would have been a conflict of interest at some point. Like, that would have been a part of my storyline, a part of one of the episodes for me. It would have been like, oh, I have this function going on, or this is happening, or whatever, and my mom don't get along with her mom, or this was the issue. Like, this is the first time we're hearing about all this, and you guys, Porsha, Shamea, like, y'all been on our screens for how many years? That should just show you right there that y'all are like, this was never a genuine friendship. It doesn't seem like. Shamea's trying to express herself again. Porsha is like, Shamea, please stop. And going back to the fight or flight, that's actually what occurs right here at this point in the episode. Porsha gets up and she walks off in the bathroom, wherever. She's like, what was she saying? You're okay, Porsha. You're okay. You're okay. Girl, just stop. Just stop. Shamea, again, though, you're better than me, because I would have been this face and this type of mannerisms would have just completely. I would have had to get up off the table or out my chair and gone about my business that day, because otherwise I probably would have wind up doing something I regret. Because you mean to tell me, like, you're showing me even in this conversation why what I'm saying is valid, that you do things, you don't care about my feelings, and you're just all about Porsha. But in the end, after all her rudeness and stuff, and the shuffling silverware, and oh, I thought you were done talking, and all that, they, are able to hug it out, titty to titty. Hated Shamea's pants, but they're, I guess, able to make amends enough in this scene, or at this point in time. Like I said earlier, we still have the cash trip next week. We still have to get to present day. Present day, where I think I pulled it up too. Yeah. Porsha had this to say, even though she posted that happy birthday message or post or whatever last week or whenever that was to Shamea. Yeah. She then flipped the script on her. Shout outs to All About the Tea, and had this to say when it comes to how Shamea apparently was talking slick about Miss Diane. Now, you guys drop down in the comments and let me know, did you guys feel like she was talking slick to Miss Diane? Did you guys, or about Miss Diane? Because I believe I watched the episode 2-3 times, I believe, and at nowhere in that conversation do I feel as though Porsha was being or Shamea was being rude or was saying anything slick by the mouth about Miss Diane. But this just shows you right here that you're so quick to flip the script on somebody who you call a best friend. Like, if anything, even if I thought that my best friend said or did something that I didn't like, or that was rude, or whatever, because we have been best friends for so long, because I have the utmost respect and love for her, I would still, out of respect for the years that we've, put in and stuff like that, over 20, 4 or 5, something like that, that I would address it with her. I would address it to her first, and not just come up on social media talking crazy on her and coming for her based off of, again, something that she said that I didn't think was bad at all. I'm gonna just say this. I'm watching new episode at Shamea Morton. Now, don't take it there. Don't imply shit about Diane Williams. I've been keeping it cute, quiet, and you can do and say what you want in me, but hear me when I say wrong road, talking about, well, your mom thought my mom was a friend, knowing goddamn well what she did to my mom was highly egregious. Don't do it. Keep playing victim and that BS. Don't F with my mom. Girl. Okay, Porsha. Because like I said, I don't feel like anything that was said was terrible. I don't feel like anything that was said was just so harsh. But for whatever reason, you again decided to come up here and prove to us that you was never a friend to this lady. And with that, y'all, I will leave it right there. Stop sharing my screen. There's some more Bravo news and just some different things I would like to cover that has occurred or news that has broken over the last couple of weeks, y'all. So please make sure your notification bell is on so you know when I come and give you guys all of that news and my thoughts and opinions on it. Another Bravo 411 will be very, very soon. Again, don't forget to like this video. Don't forget to comment, subscribe, share, do all the things. Shout out to everybody who caught this. Collectively, we have 22 people in the room. I appreciate you all. Again, I'm still trying to get back into the rhythm with it all and make sure that I'm giving you guys the content that you all deserve from me and not trying to go MIA or fall off. Again, your girl's birthday is in 9 days, y'all. So I'm feeling good, even though, like I said in the beginning of this video, life has been so hectic and crazy and busy and all the things. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling like I want to get up here and just talk about all the things. We have some new shows that are coming up. So I'm really eager to come down here and make sure that I am bringing you guys the content. So, yep. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, do all the things. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.